Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with a movie review to a bad movie. Wait, that's going to be for a sequel to, direct-to-DVD sequel, by the way, to a bad movie that I reviewed last week. And that movie, of course, was, well, you all know, Boogeyman, aka that stupid 2005 paranormal CGI shit demon movie from 2005 that's from Ghost House Pictures. Well, apparently that movie made 67 million worldwide at the box office on a 20 million budget, which somehow is considered successful. So, guess what we got as a result? Yeah, a sequel. Thankfully direct to DVD. And look what it once again says on the cover. From the producers of The Grudge. Yeah, they keep putting on there to let everyone know that they're the people who made The Grudge, but that's not the only case. Just look at what they put in the trailer for this crap.
From the producers of The Grudge and The Messenger.
Ah, caramba. Yeah, because, like, The Messengers was a good movie. They had to put that from the producers of Grudge and Messengers at the beginning of their trailer. As soon as you hear that, you already know this movie's gonna be shit. Because, because The Messengers, I have seen The Messengers, and it sucks. That was probably one of the worst horror films of the 2007. Man, but anyway, this sequel. Wait, why is it called Boogeyman 2? I'm gonna get to why it shouldn't be called 2 in a little bit, but here's the plot. Terror invades an isolated asylum when Laura, haunted by a paralyzing fear of the Boogeyman at age 18, becomes one of many patients who are prisoners to their own phobias. But what appears to be a safe haven soon becomes an asylum of the damned when the Boogeyman returns. Really? Trapping them all inside, beginning his hunt for new victims. Well, here's one good quality of the film. It stars, actually guys, it stars Tobin Bell, aka Jigsaw from the Saw movies. So that is kind of a bonus. Gets ready for a terrifying game of cat and mouse where you fear is what will kill you. So, do like that Tobin Bell's in this film, but his character isn't really all that really enjoyable, and he's only in the movie for like not even that long, kind of just 3 minutes really. But so I did watch this film, and let me say, this should not even be a sequel because it actually has nothing to do with the first one. In fact, the first one was dumb paranormal crap. This one actually decides to just some reason, since apparently they're like, oh, okay, people didn't like the paranormal shit, let's change it and go with the slasher route, except have one of the most misleading covers ever, because this cover right here, this makes it look like another paranormal film. You look like the same paranormal stuff of the first film. Just look at this Boogeyman right here. That looks exactly like the Boogeyman from the first one. He's got like the same hand right there on the door of the cover. That's what it really looks like. Just looks like the same garbage as the first one, except it's really not. The Boogeyman's literally this guy in a costume, but I'm not bashing at stuff. I'm actually glad they kind of went the slasher route, but however, that doesn't mean it's good, guys. No, It's actually because this movie is basically a pure rip-off of another horror sequel, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Wars, because one, it's set in an asylum, features victims who have their own fears, and it has the killer hunting them in an asylum. Yeah, that's basically the plot of Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Except Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was actually good. This movie's not. Yeah, Because when watching a sequel, I presumed it was going to be a sequel, actual sequel 2005 film, but it's not even a sequel, but which is, I guess, for the best. And instead, it's just another Nightmare on Elm Street type clone, another attempt at a slasher. The actors and directing is okay, I suppose, but what's the point of watching a sequel to a horror when it's basically a completely different film and genre? Like, it should have been, like, honestly, I hate to say this movie still sucks, but this honestly should have been the first film. Like, if you took out Boogeyman 2, took out the 2, it wouldn't make much difference. It has no connection to the first one at all. Well, there's like one mention of the protagonist from the first film, but that's really it. There's still no connection. This was set around 2007. The movie was made in 2007, and back around the 2000s, there were so many garbage direct-to-DVD horror sequels. Like, there was the Butterfly Effect 2, atrocious sequel to an actually, except however, Butterfly Effect 1, unlike the first Boogeyman, this was actually a good film. I mean, the Butterfly Effect was actually kind of a good movie in its own way. Open Water 2. That film sucked, so did the first one. Wrong Turn 2. Oh my god. I hate the Wrong Turn series. All the Wrong Turn movies suck. Okay? None of them are good. Every one of those movies sucks. I hate I even mention that series. Return to House on Haunted Hill. That was a sequel to a 1999 remake. That also sucked. And now this. Then again, some bad horror movie. Then again, just about any bad horror movie 2000s got a direct-to-DVD sequel, and they were all worse. Well, however, this one, actually, believe it or not, is kind of better than the first one, I have to say. I wasn't as, like, infuriated or bored by this movie as I was with the first. There was less horrible CGI this time around, and there was some, like, pretty decent gore. Like, there's this elevator death, and, there's this one death where this girl has maggots put in her arm, and she has to cut them out to try to get them away from her, and it ends up killing her. And there's this one guy that eats cockroaches and drinks bottle cleaner, hoping he'll get the germs of the cockroaches out. Instead, it burns a hole in his throat. And one guy does get his chest pried open and his heart ripped out. And then one of the final victims actually gets blown up, gets literally blown up, and gore kind of sprays everywhere. So that is the other redeeming quality. This movie actually does have some kind of decent gore, but that still doesn't mean it's good, like I said. Because this so-called sequel has nothing even related to it, except for one idiotic scene, which was just very stupid, and a way to just connect the first two films. But then again, I guess it is for the best because no one likes the first one at all. Like, and there's more stupider stuff, and there's no way the nurse would ever go into the dark. This nurse goes to the dark space by herself. There's no way that would happen. And see if the problem with the phones might be there, or and eventually there ends up being only 3 people left. And guess what this stupid cliche does? They split up. And no way would there ever be that large of a facility and such a small amount of staff or residents. Yeah, there's hardly any staff or residents in the facility. If funding was short, they wouldn't even bother with the operating expense, and it wouldn't even be a facility. There's no maintenance personnel whatsoever. Nobody hears anyone else scream, and the doors would not automatically lock down with no alternate means of escape. That would be a total violation of fire and safety codes, not to mention a total lack of communication with the outside. I don't care how secluded the place was. Or crap funding and whatever. If a stoner was that afraid of the dark, he wouldn't go down to the basement alone to smoke all that pot, even if the pot looked good. And after the stoner died, literally everything seemed fine. Police didn't even investigate it. No safety code and no state investigators whatsoever. Oh, and the protagonist has an older brother who is actually also a patient before the female protagonist goes in there, and then after he leaves, the female protagonist checks herself in there, and then here's the thing. They basically the ending is also really stupid. They try to do the dumb Saw crap, and they do a plot twist. They basically rip off Saw with this plot twist, and The killer in the Boogeyman costume, believe it or not, is literally the brother. Yeah, it's the female lead's brother was the killer, apparently, for some weird reason. They don't even build up to this at all, they just show this stupid flashback of Tobin Bell's character locking the brother in the closet, and the Boogeyman possessed him. Apparently that's how he turned evil. But literally for most of the film, he hardly even sounds evil. He doesn't even sound all that douchey. Like, how would this guy be a killer? It was just forced to get a quick, cheap shock out of the audience. And then there's another stupid plot twist, and she then impales his throat with garden shears, well, we think, and then the killer falls down, his head pries right off, blood sprays everywhere as usual. And then, of course, the police finally do arrive when literally everybody's dead. That's probably the dumbest cop force I've ever seen. They just don't even show up till literally everyone is all dead. And when they unmask the killer, guess what? It's not the older brother. It was apparently that female doctor that was monitoring all the patients was actually in the mask, and guess what? The female lead apparently killed her. Yeah, that basically ripped off the stupid reveal in Halloween Resurrection where Laurie thought she killed Michael, but she actually just killed someone in costume, which basically ruined Halloween H2O 20 years later. So basically, this movie copies a lot of other horror films. It copies Nightmare on Elm Street 3, it copies Saw, and it copies Halloween Resurrection. Well, then again, Halloween Resurrection was a shit sequel anyway, so yeah. So in short, I could go on. It's better than the first one, but all in all, this movie is still crap. This movie still sucks. Having some decent gore and having a different change in tone definitely doesn't make the movie good, and here's how I would definitely rank it. I am going to give Boogeyman 2 a 3 out of 10. Well, honestly, don't even know if I even want to review Boogeyman 3. Wait, what? There's a third! No, I don't want to do the third. Get it? I'll do it if I want to. But my next horror movie review is going to be for a horror film starring Tony Todd. No, it's not Night of the Living Dead remake. I'll give you a hint what it is. Say his name 5 times. There's your hint. But, all in all, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Movie Lover 120.